Hello, it's Kerry from DanceWerk. I'm making this video for you today because I've had a few people ask me about teaching young children, particularly toddlers, because there's always a misconception, I think, that you can't teach dance to young children, or that people really wonder what they're going to do with young children when it comes to dancing, because they're worried that they're not going to get the behaviour they want to see, and they're just going to get children running around screaming and that kind of thing. But really, you can have a really productive dance class with young children. So I just really wanted to make this video to share with you the kind of morning I've had with my young children, and also some tips that I want to recommend for you to use if you are teaching dance to toddlers. So this morning I've been teaching my mini feet sessions over at a children's centre. We've had 1 to 3 year olds. We had about 15 1 to 3 year olds this morning, which might be some people's worst nightmare, but actually I find it a whole load of fun. I basically get to be a big kid again. This morning we've been astronauts, we've been space explorers, we've been pirates, we've been under the sea creatures, we've been cowboys and cowgirls. We've really been having loads of fun. So I just want to share with you some tips so that you can have lots of fun in your toddler's dance classes as well. So number 1, repetition. You want to keep repeat everything that you do, especially with very young children. So think about the ways in which you are moving around the room. Think about the ways that you're encouraging them with their spatial awareness. Thinking about changing up the patterns and having shapes such as circles. Really good with young children to have some kind of circle time. So for example, we have a circle time at the beginning where we might focus on rhythm or names or different ways of moving, and then at the end of the class we have a circle time with a parachute as well, where they explore different ways of moving with a parachute. And the rest of the time it's focused on moving around the room, the sorts of things that young children can really cope with. So repetition with young children is really important. Number 2, pace. You want to keep your class moving, keep them moving all the time. Have a variety of music and keep it going. If you're teaching really young children, don't expect their attention span to be very long. So for example, if you've got a 3-year-old, you really can't expect them to stay give you or their attention for longer than 3 minutes. If you've got a 2-year-old, they're not going to give you their attention for longer than 2 minutes, for example. So keep changing up. At my dance classes, we have a variety of music. We call our sessions mini C, and we use like TV themes and different tunes, and a variety of music: classical music, children's music, pop music, variety of music to keep them inspired and keep them engaged and keep the class moving. We don't keep the music on for very long. We keep changing it to keep them engaged and really keep them following what we're doing and keeping them moving. So that's my tip number 2, is to consider the pace of the class and the amount of time that you spend on any one activity. Number 3, inspiring and upbeat. So you need to be inspiring and upbeat first of all, and the music that you choose needs to be inspiring and upbeat as well. We always get really good feedback for the kinds of music that we use because it keeps the children engaged. So as I said, we use TV themes, we use pop music, we use classical music, we use Disney music, all sorts of different things, a whole variety to keep them interested. You want to think about what's going to keep the boys engaged as well as what keeps the girls engaged, because that might be slightly different. So as I mentioned earlier, we have superheroes and rockets and spaceships and monsters and that kind of thing. You want to think about what you can offer the girls and the boys in terms of things that are going to inspire them. Of course, girls are going to be inspired by things that you might think were typically a boy thing. The girls might be inspired by that too, and equally the boys might be inspired by things that you typically thought would be more appropriate for a girl. So really think about that. So yeah, really set the scene. So even before you put a piece of music on, so for example today we were going up into space on our space rocket, and we set the scene by putting on our space helmet and pressing the big button and strapping ourselves in and then going off to explore and that kind of thing. So really set the scene with your children to get them engaged and get them involved with you and hold their attention before you put the music on and start the movement. and you want to participate because you want to model the behaviour and the types of dancing that you want to see. So you need to be dancing continually with these children all the time as well to keep them motivated, all right? And that brings me on to number 4, behaviour. You want to model your positive behaviour. You don't want to be too negative. You want to keep them engaged. And really, if you're following these things and you're keeping the pace of the lesson up, and you're using a variety of music, and you're participating and you're being inspiring, then really you're not going to have any behaviour issues. There's always that one child that everyone has in their class, and maybe you might think about giving them a special role, recruiting them to help you with something. I always have my special helpers in my class, and that just helps to sort of distract them from whatever it was that was distracting them in the first place, and helps to re-engage them if they feel like they're a little bit more important and they've got a special job. Which brings me on to praise. You want to be praising your children for their good behaviour, praising them for their good dancing, and saying thank you to them when you see them do something really, really well. Just really acknowledge that you're really enjoying being with them in the dance class. And that might be physical rewards such as stickers, or it might be verbal praise, and it's something you want to keep continuous throughout your class and not just for the end of the class. Um, and really, if you follow these 5 things, you're going to have a really good time in your dance class with your 1 to 3 year olds. So I'll just share with you those tips again. Number 1, repetition. Number 2, pace. Number 3, inspiring and upbeat. Number 4, behaviour. Number 5, praise. So those are my top tips for teaching toddlers. Maybe you have some tips of your own that you would like to share with me. Let me know what you think about these tips. Let me know if you've had similar experiences and what you do in your dance classes. Thank you for watching my video, and happy dancing. Bye.